you know what the agricultural sector is? Do you know how it affects the economy? Do you know what problem it faces? If not, please keep on watching this video. Agricultural sectors comprise establishments primarily engaged in growing crops, raising animals, and harvesting fish or other animals in a ranch, farm, or their natural habitat. This is also known as agronomics. Agronomics is a branch of economics dealing with land usage. Here in the Philippines, agriculture plays a significant role in the economy, involving 40% of Filipino workers and contributing 20% to the gross domestic product.
Forestry. Forestry is a science and craft of creating, managing, using, conserving, and repairing forests, woodlands, and resources for human and environmental benefits. Fisheries. Fisheries is engaged in raising or harvesting fish. It is harvested for its commercial value. Fisheries can be in salt water and can also be wild or farmed. It involves in producing fish for human consumption. Livestock. Livestock is defined as domesticated animals raised in an agricultural setting to produce labor and commodities like meat, eggs, and milk. Agriculture sector serves as a major source of income and employment of our country, Philippines. Agriculture, as we all know, is the primary occupation of the rural people in our country. It supplies all our basic necessities as a human and increases the employment rate of one's country. Also, it has something to do with the production, exportation, and other related things. Indeed, the role of agriculture in economic development is beyond compare. I can say that an economy with high agriculture will lead to an increase in the employment rate. This is for an economy will lead more workers for better production, and thus there will be enough opportunity for the people in need of jobs to be employed, and somehow this will also lead to development in the economy. Agricultural productivity growth contributes to better nutrition through raising incomes, especially since in countries where the sector accounts for a large share of the economy and employment, and by reducing the cost of food for all consumers. In addition, a study by the Organization for Cooperation and Development suggested that agricultural growth contributes to a country's overall poverty reduction. With this sector, Philippines is the world's largest producer of different products like coconuts, pineapple, rice, sugar. Agriculture is important in every country like in the Philippines, since it is one of the main pillars of economy and has the ability to sustain population from one sources and keeps the people busy with work and have food without begging from other countries. Agricultural products is the only source of food for the Filipinos. So the government should show support for our farmers when their livelihood is damaged from the past calamities and etc. The Philippines population is increasing, so we need more supply of food.
Par, ang hirap naman ang trabaho natin. Papalit-palit lagi presyo ng produkto natin.
Oo nga pare, pati sweldo na kailangan.
With that video being shown, you guys now have an introduction to what the problems that the agriculture faces. So, the first problem is the instability of farm prices. The instability of farm prices results from several factors. One is the slowness with which farmers are able to respond to changes in the demand for their product. Farmers generally must produce on the basis of expectations, and if their expectations turn out to be wrong, the resulting surplus or shortage cannot be corrected until the beginning of the next production cycle.
Now that we know the causes of instability of prices, let us now discuss its effect. Once a crop is planted, very little can be done to increase or reduce production in response to market prices, as long as prices cover current operating costs such as the cost of harvesting. It pays farmers to carry through their production plans even if prices fall to a very low level. It is not unusual for the prices of particular farm products to vary by a third or a half from year to year. That extreme variability results from the relatively low responsiveness of demand to changes in price. In other words, from the fact that in order to increase sales by 5%, it may be necessary to reduce the price by 15%. In correlation to this, another problem rises, which is instability of income. The instability of farm prices is accompanied by instability of farm income. In modern agricultural, costs tend to be relatively stable. The farmer is unable to compensate for a drop in prices by reducing his payments for machinery, fertilizer, or labor.
The incomes of farm workers are generally below those of other workers. There are two major reasons for that inequity. One is that in most economies, the need for farm labor is declining, and each year large numbers of farm people, especially young ones, must leave their homes to seek jobs elsewhere.
The difference in returns to labor is required to bring about the transfer of workers out of farming. If the transfer didn't occur, farm incomes would be even more depressed.
The second major reason for the income differences is that farm people generally have less education than non-farm people. The difference in education is of long-standing and is found in all countries, developed and undeveloped. It also exists whether the national education system is highly decentralized as in the United States or highly centralized as in France.
Because farmers receive less education, they tend to earn less of non-farm jobs.
Like what Lazarus said,
we cannot all be doctors. Someone has to till the soil.
To know how the sector faces the challenges of globalization, first we need to know what globalization actually is. Globalization mostly implies neither borders nor nations. The concept stresses the globe or the world as a whole. There are three types of globalization: economic, cultural, and political. But for this video, we'll focus on economic globalization. Economic globalization refers to the widespread of international movement of goods, services, capital, technology, and information. It is the increasing economic integration and interdependence of national, regional, and local economies across the world through an intensification of cross-border movement of goods, services, technologies, and capital. It also primarily comprises the globalization of production, finance, markets, technology, organizational regimes, institution, corporation, and labor.
To globalize means to make worldwide in scope or application. We live in a global ecosystem. In this, we have no choice increasingly. All nations of the world share a global culture, a consequence of past choices. And the economy has become increasingly global as well. However, within the global ecosystem are boundaries, which give form and structure to the natural systems. Within the global culture are boundaries, which define different human values and perspectives of reality. And within the global economy are boundaries, which allow nations to reflect the differences in their natural ecosystems and social cultures in the structure of functioning of their economies.
The World Trade Organization, or WTO, appears committed to removing all barriers to international trade, to achieve free trade, and thus to removing all economic boundaries among nations. Once the economic boundaries are removed, cultural boundaries will become further blurred and ecological boundaries will be left open to economic exploitation. Cultural and ecological diversity are considered obstacles to economic progress. A truly global economy will allow greater standardization of the process and products and thus will allow global corporations to achieve even greater economies of scale. However, stakeholders fears for the disadvantages and the things that rice tariffication will not be able to do. The farmers fears that they will have low income because markets will depend more on imports to have an inflow of rice in the country and that they have weak domestic rice production. The farmers fear that they will also encounter the troubles that the coconut farmers encountered, for example, the cocoa levy fiasco.
All the fears, doubts, and suggestions will be evaluated and considered. Pinyol assured, according to Pinyol, the idea of relying on imports from Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and other rice-producing countries for our rice supply is a short-sighted effect. The fear of opening the market with imported rice will not end the rice industry of the country. Pinyol said, since Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia also have growing population, Pinyol argued that there will come a time that they can no longer export the same volume of rice.
It is important that farmers raise their productivity in farming with the guidance of the government. If we will apply proper values for the role of the government in this sector, the politicians shouldn't tamper with the funds allocated solely for this agriculture. The government should be worth the trust of this sector as they are the ones who could greatly help the stakeholders of the agricultural sector, meaning the government should not do corruption. And since we are talking about trust, farmers should be worth trusting on raising their competitiveness with other rice supplier in order to supply enough for our nation. Us consumers should also be reliable in consuming wisely and avoid wastage since there are a lot of issues already circulating in our country about food supply. Being hardworking, practical, and responsible are attitudes that I can apply that could greatly help address the conditions for this sector. It is everyone's responsibility to make agriculture thrive, and we must think and practice ways to make it sustainable.